Hey guys, I'm back with a new video. So the last you guys heard of my goldfish, they were pretty sick. Hold on, my cat wants something. I'll be right back. Say hi to the camera. So the last you guys heard of my goldfish, they were pretty sick, especially the black telescope. I'm pretty sure he had already given up. They came down with Velvet's disease. My fish have velvet. These are the symptoms that he was showing. And he had excess slime coat again with little white spots on it. Basically, the orange and the two pinkies were sick, like they had it, but it didn't really affect them. I took out the snails because I wanted to go ahead and treat these guys, and the medications and actually the whole treatment that I'm using will kill them. Since the black telescope was in here with these guys, they also have the parasites. They just aren't showing the symptoms yet. And I actually saw some of that dust and spots in this guy. So the velvet is definitely in this system as well. But luckily these guys haven't changed behavior at all. They're still eating great and active, and they're really good, thankfully. But the black telescope was actually doing really bad because he was under some stress like before coming down with it. And because of that, it just hit him really hard compared to the other three. He was just not responding to the treatment. Today I woke up and he wasn't looking good at all. He was just right back to being very lethargic. He was barely swimming, he was just kind of there. He stopped eating, and by the end of that video, he was more gone than here. Hey, don't. No? Serious. So at the end of that video, I mentioned that I was going to force feed my goldfish the black telescope that just did not recover. It just didn't look like he was gonna make it. He was just really far gone and didn't show any signs of improvement. Today is going to make 6 days that he has not wanted to eat. And I know fish can go a long time without food, but I don't think that's helping him get any better. So I don't know, at this point I'm really considering force feeding, and I've been researching on that, and apparently there is a way, but I'm a little bit nervous to do it. So I'm gonna give him today to eat, and if he doesn't, tonight I'm going to go ahead and force feed just a small amount. I really want to get some nutrition into him. And it actually got to the point to where I actually thought it would be a better idea to put him down. I didn't really want him to suffer anymore. And funny how things work, like actually he just pretty much made a full recovery and he is totally back to normal now. So I still have the black telescope in the quarantine tub, and the other 3 are still in the micro pond setup. So I actually did show like a small clip in the end of that other video of the actual force feeding, but I told you guys that I would do a separate video on that, and here I am. So first of all, I'm not a professional, I'm not a veterinarian or anything like that. I'm just a girl whose fish got sick, and I wanted to really give him a fighting chance. And I did research this. I researched ways to force feed your fish, and unfortunately there's not really a lot of options for smaller fish. A lot of the videos and forums and posts and blogs and everything that I read up on that, it was mostly bigger fish for pretty obvious reasons. It's kind of nearly impossible to force feed a really small fish because there's really nothing you can use other than a syringe with the tip still attached. Now, if my goldfish were bigger, then I probably could have done the inserting a tube all the way into their stomachs thing, but my fish are still just too small for that, and I wasn't really comfortable doing that. I was terrified to even try this. Like, imagine stuffing a tube down my fish's throat. Like, that terrified me. So instead I did this. So the first thing I did was just in a measuring spoon, I placed in there some flake food and like a few pellets. And also I have these like vitamin A drops that they sell for turtles. So I added a drop of that in there, but it's not a must. Next, I took some water from the quarantine tub. So I added just a few drops in there, just enough to rehydrate the flakes and the pellets. So I waited like 10-15 minutes for the flakes and the pellets to get mushy, and I just took the end of a toothbrush and I mashed it up really good until it was pretty much incorporated and like liquidy almost. So then I was debating with myself whether to use a pipette or a syringe, and this was really hard at the moment to try and decide, but after doing it, it was pretty clear the better option was a pipette. Because first of all, the pipette has a slightly smaller hole than the syringe, but what really helps with the pipette is that it has like the long tube, which the syringe is kind of like at level with the end of it, while the pipette has like a really long tube, and that really helps get the food like into your fish's mouth, not just like on the outside. So pretty clear now that the pipette is the better option. So what I did with the food liquid mush mixture thing is I added a few more drops of the water from the quarantine tub to make it runnier, so it'll go up the pipette easier and so that it would be easier for my fish to swallow. So then I loaded the pipette. Okay, so after that, I didn't have dirty hands, like my hands were pretty clean. So all I did was I rinsed them off with water really good before sticking them in the quarantine tub. So then I reached into the quarantine tub to get a hold of the fish. Because the lights were off for the whole treatment and I had to turn them on in order to force feed, he was really squirmy. And he was scared, obviously, so I just like wanted to get this done really fast so that I wouldn't stress him out more than I have to. So there's two ways that I tried doing this. The first way that I tried was I stuffed my fish's mouth with food and then I placed him back in the water so that he could swallow, and repeated it a few times. And I didn't really like it. I think it's really stressful for the fish to be in water and out and back in and back out. And I'm not sure how much of it he was actually eating. So it's not my favorite method. So instead what I kind of just went for was I took my fish and I held him in my hand but underwater. And this is actually really easy with weaker fish. You can tell in the video that he just wasn't fighting me on it. He was just like, you know. So again, I placed the food like inside like his mouth. So I just kept squeezing out, and I think that just kind of forced him to swallow some of it. A lot of it didn't go down, it just kind of ended up in the water in the quarantine tub. But enough of it did go down and I'm happy with that. And I was doing almost daily water changes at the time in the quarantine tub anyway, so it didn't really matter to me. And yeah, that's pretty much how I force fed my fish. After every feeding, I turned off all the lights so that he would just kind of relax and kind of recover from the stressful situation. After the first feeding and the first day, the next day I offered some food and he still refused it, so I did another force feeding on day 2. And the same thing on day 3. Before force feeding, I offered food and he kept refusing it up to like day 5 or 6. But I could already tell by the 3rd day that he was just so much better. He was really recovered. He was just a lot more active. He seemed more aware of his surroundings. So the first thing that the black telescope ate on his own was some live bloodworms. After that first feeding, every other feeding, he just improved so much. His appetite was bigger, and yeah. It's really weird because if you guys remember, he was actually going through what looked like a color change. He was actually turning orange. There was only really like the top part of his body still black, but it looks like it reverted, if that even makes any sense. Maybe he wasn't going through a color change. Maybe it was the fact that he was sick, or it was just like another one of those side effects or a symptom. I don't know, honestly, but this is him now. So yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it and that it was helpful, and if not, thank you guys so much for watching it anyways. I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Bye! Hi you guys! Hi! Alright, see, when I wanted you here for the update on you, you weren't here, and now that I'm filming for something else, you're all over me. Not cool. Come on, little guy, let me film. Stop! Why are you being everywhere today? Seriously, you are a little pain in the ass. Did you know that? Did you know that? Say hi to the people. Show them how social you're being today. The last time in the last video, you were being a little shit. You didn't want anything to do with them. I want to clarify that I'm not a professional. I'm not a vet. I'm not anything. Ow, my cat's climbing me. Ow, my back. My back. What is your problem? Really? Doesn't like the camera. Okay, so I took some water out of the quarantine tub to pre-mix the medications in. The main ingredient in this is Malignite Green. So then I started to very slowly incorporate the medicated pre-mixed water onto the rest of the water in the quarantine tub. Next came the salt. I'm using 1 tablespoon of salt per 10 gallons of water. He looks more grown up, like he's starting to look like an adult cat, not so much a kitten anymore. Really? You're not gonna say hi to the peeps? Oh my god. Oh my god. So he is already eating solid food, as you guys can see. And it was really hard because he just did not want it. So you guys probably remember that I was strictly feeding him like just canned food.